So when did you like sit down and say, I'm gonna make a new album? Like I'm gonna release something.
Well, I've always, like I said, I'm always working on music. Like that's like my thing. Like I never really stop. So it's always in my planning to put music out. You know what I mean? So just always, I'm always going. Yeah.
So with hip hop changed so much, do you feel that today's listeners are ready to hear something from you? Do you feel that you're still not to be, still relevant with today's hip hop listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm relevant. I mean, I feel like, I call my album The Renaissance because over the last few years there's been a lot of discussion amongst the coveted brain trust here in hip hop about the depreciation of the music, the lack of, I guess, creativity in it, and your look and your swag and your business acumen have seemed to taken priority over your actual music and your songs. The things that got you to your place of business hierarchy or your place of swaggerdom. So people seem to check out when it comes to the actual approach to the music. And we have to remember that we do this in the lineage of Stevie Wonder, Billie Holiday, of Miles Davis, of Eric B. and Rakim, of Lauryn Hill. Like, we do this in their lineage, you know what I'm saying? So we can't forsake the music for dollars and commerce. So that's why I named my album The Renaissance, and because a lot of people have been having that discussion, and I feel like that there's people who, this music is for.
Yeah, true. So what is your goals for 2009? Since you just said you're not about, like, the money, what do you want to be the outcome of this,
I'm not saying I'm not about the money. I'm just saying that that's not the main priority. It can't be, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to prioritize things, you know what I'm saying? A lot of cats come on your show probably and say, I'm not a rapper, or I'm not good at rapping, I'm just good at hustling.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't reward stuff like that, because it can't go unchecked, because there's a history of people who started this, on little next to no means, and have afforded that person who made that comment the opportunity to do this, and they did it out of love. You have to have some sort of love for this. So for 2009, I definitely want to spread that love. I want to be successful, of course, like anybody else. That'd be silly and foolish for me not to say that. But I definitely want to do something that's rich in its content. You know what I mean? Like what I used to do with Tribe. Like, I just want to continue that tradition of giving good music to people.
Okay, so what can some of our readers expect from you with this album? Like, what was the production like? What's your favorite tracks?
Well, I produced the whole album with the exception of a song called Move, which is done by the late great Dilla, which everybody, I'm sure, is starting to get aware of who he is. That was my partner, the dude that I basically helped put on back in the days, and we miss him dearly. He's a genius. So I think listeners should expect, music that deals with kind of like the tradition. Like, if you came from a Tribe tradition or something, if that's your trajectory, and you hear that, and you hear Kanye, and you hear that type of music, you're not gonna be thrown off. But I think it speaks to a new interpretation of that. So I'm excited about that.
I heard that there's a track on there with Obama speaking over a beat. Can you tell us about that?
I have a song on there called Shaka that I took an excerpt from one of Obama's speeches, and I put it on there, but his people said you gotta take it off. But I'm gonna leak it online, so
okay,
everybody, all my pirates, be aware for the booty coming. So I'm gonna leak that.
So, Like, what are some of the artists that you are feeling like right now? What would you, if, okay, since you said you basically done a renaissance now, the album's about to come out and everything, on your next album or, just doing a duet with somebody, what artist would you love to work with that's out right now?
I love Sancho Gold. I think she's dope. I think Charles Hamilton is dope. I think a lot of people will be hearing about him. I think that I like the Cool Kids and Pac Div, Talib, Kweli. There's a lot of dope artists out there actually on that's bubbling, that's starting to kick over. So I'm excited.
Now, for me, from a personal perspective, I'm only 20 years old. So I wasn't able to follow Tribe Called Quest and like your early career and stuff. So why should my generation, get into what you have, and we have like Common, we have Kanye West, that's quote unquote different from like the Young Bergs, Soldier Boys, that's, doing a different type of music. So why should my generation get into what you bring in?
Well, because Kanye and Common, the things that your generation like, comes from what I did. You know what I mean? And we all have to kind of be informed and understand our history and understand kind of what it makes. It'll make you like Common and Kanye more if you hear what I did in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's incumbent upon everybody to just check that history out. Because then when you hear people make comments like, oh, this dude can't rhyme, or this is corny, or whatever, and then they start cross-referencing stuff, and they start saying stuff like Grandmaster Flash, or Eric B. and Rakim, or EPMD, you're like, huh? But when you hear those names, you should go check out the music, so that when people make those comments, you can see where they're basing it from, you know what I mean? So I just think that people, if you love music, the internet is there for you to kind of hear a whole diaspora of stuff, whether free or pay or whatever, but it's there for you to grasp. So if that information is there, just go get it.
And since you're a hip hop legend to a lot of people, so my question is, what is your view on the state of hip hop as of now?
Well, like I kind of said, I feel like that there's a turn for the better with a lot of the artists that may not be mainstream, because there's a certain amount of artists that's allowed to kind of function on a mainstream level at all the mainstream portals from I guess urban or black music, and that's either Alicia Keys or Jay-Z or Rihanna or Beyonce. Like, this is a few. So all these other artists that are happening on the underground, it's going to take a lot of effort for them to crack through, but I feel like that the playing field is starting to level out a bit. So it's a good thing. I feel like with artists like Asante Gold, or with artists like a Lupe or who have you, like, it's starting to make it wider. Different things are starting to happen. People are starting to go to shows more and see live performances, and you got to really cut it on stage. You really got to bring it live again. So it's good to have that kind of I wouldn't want to say elitism, but it's good to have that standard put back into play.
Yes, sir.
I'm just curious, who would you say are the top 3 best rappers, excluding yourself?
Of all time?
Yeah, all time, sure.
I guess the top 3 rappers to me of all time would be it's hard to say. I can't. That's really tough to say, but I'd have to say Rakim. Man, Slick Rick. I don't know, Biggie Smalls.
Do you think anybody today has potential to be like those 3 rappers?
I think a lot of people have potential, but it takes a lot of albums to do that. You know what I mean? To get there. And just because you say it as an MC that you're the greatest, that doesn't mean that you are the greatest. To me, I think that those ones that I mentioned, there's just a lot of depth there. But there's a lot of dudes that's out right now that's up and coming that could actually hit it, make that mark. I believe that. You don't. I guess you don't agree.
No. But so we're based here in New York. So you're from New York. You're from Queens. Right? What would you say? Where do you like to go? What do you like to do in New York?
Well, in New York, you know what I'm saying, I was born and raised there. How old you say you were?
20.
20. So, when I was getting out of high school, you was probably just getting conceived. So, and it was a very different New York, I'm going to tell you about it. We used to, like, hop the trains. I don't know if, we used to, like...
They don't play that now.
They don't play that now. I know we used to swipe bus passes back and forth and exchange it. Our whole thing was beating the system and bombing the system, you know what I'm saying? We used to be in the middle of the train cars, smoking weed and rhyming and talking to girls. And, we all used to converge on 42nd Street. It didn't look like the way it did now. It was like some shoddy movie theaters, and they would play like 3 movies, like a couple of kung fu flicks, and maybe the main movie. And we all go out there. We go to like Delancey Street and buy like Goose Downs and sheepskin bombers and stuff like that. So that's the way New York was, and the way it is now. And what I do now, I obviously don't do all those things, but it's pretty different. But one thing that remains constant for me, one thing that I've liked to do now is to like go to restaurants. There's a lot of great places to eat here in the city, and I love to cook as well. So there's some good markets. I like to go pick up some joints. You know what I'm saying? Like same way I chef up Beats is the same way I chef up Grub and all that.
What's
you know what I'm saying?
dish?
Man, I do a lot. I like to bake a lot. I do like I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, well,
because then we all just gonna get hungry and y'all gonna be mad and then gonna ask me to cook and come over and have. I can't get you out. No, I'm sorry. But in New York, I also DJ a lot. You know what I'm saying? So there's a spot I have in New York where I DJ on Fridays with my man Rich Medina, and we play everything, like from Afrobeat. Like we may play like a Fela Kuti record, and then play an album cut off of T.I.'s album that people haven't heard on the radio or something. But we really try to stay away from playing radio songs, but we try to break new records from new artists that you may not have heard in a club setting. Like we may play a Michael Jackson song, and then maybe something for like a James Brown song or something like that, then play like a Coogee rap record, and then play something like I don't know, a Rhyme Fest song, something like that people may not have heard. Just to try to like mix it and break records and bring them up and stuff like that and put it in a party setting. So those are things I like to do in New York, is my party. I like to move around, shop, all that stuff.
So what are some of your favorite performance venues that you've like? Because you got Madison Square Garden, you got the Knitting Factory, like, and those are 2 big different spectrums. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the small settings or large stadiums and stuff?
I don't know. I like the small because it's real intimate. You get to see the people, get to feel it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the big ones are great too. It's real euphoric when you play in the Garden or you play in an arena and you just hear 19,000 people just with you. Like, that energy is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But it's just as crazy when it's small too. Like, I dig it.
So where can your fans check you out?
Well, I'm about to go on tour, actually starting November 6th, with the Cool Kids, Janelle Monáe, the Nux, you know what I'm saying? We're going around the country. So I'm going to post the dates on my joint, so check it out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about that, you know what I mean? So.
All right. This could go on forever, but I have one more question. Are you going to tour anytime? Tribe Called Quest? You guys going to get back together and do
Oh, we already did that.
I know.
Yeah.
You want to do it again?
Nah, that's it for Tribe. We've done. Yeah, we did that already this summer, and that was good. But we moving on, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
Okay.